Hi, this is Jeff from Site Subscribe. I'm just going to take a moment to show you how to add a form to your WordPress website using Gravity Forms plugin. So we'll start on the WordPress dashboard, go to Forms. You'll want to hover over Forms and click on New Form. And we actually have a few forms already created, so we'll go ahead and show you how to edit a form as well. Let's give the form a title. So form description, create your form. Okay, now we have lots of stuff on the page. The main thing you need to know is just click on what kind of field you want to be adding to your form from the right side. So let's start with advanced fields, and we'll do name. Click on that and it will show at the bottom of the page. In this case, it gets rid of all those instructions that were taking up the middle section. So we'll start with name. We'll come back and do some modifications later. Let's put in email. Just click it and it shows up automatically. It takes just a few seconds. There it is. Let's put in phone number. And you get the idea. So you can do a lot of different things. You can also select single line fields if you want to capture, let's just add one. Let's say something simple. I'll show you how to edit those fields in a second. Let's add paragraph text. You can add a block of HTML code if you wanted to. And one thing I really like to add is a checkbox for someone to subscribe to your newsletter. So let's go ahead and do some modifications here. So you hover over each field individually and you can get an edit button there. From there you can change the name to something like your name. That's the label that will show up for the field. The formatting is probably what you'll use the most, which is normal, simple, extended. Comes into play for phone numbers and things like that as well. So you can have phone format, international phone numbers, things like that. You can make a field required simply by selecting this box under the Properties tab. And let's see, we have here just a text box. And here might be just create, I don't really have any use for this particular field, but let's say we want to call this my favorite book title. Something like that, something like a one-liner. That's what that would be for. We won't make that one required. And let's say the next one is going to be your a text area. Excuse me, paragraph text would be a text area. And in this case, you have usually a place where you might want to let your user add comments, or something like that. So you can just leave it like that. You don't have to do anything else besides give it a title. What I like to do with the checkboxes is I'll use this for, actually I'll give it a title called, I like to give it a title called interests, and I'll say, and actually I have a little, sorry, I have a little somewhere file. I guess I don't. Thought I had a file. I'll just have to type it in. I'll say add me to your newsletter. And you can have another choice. Please call me, something like that. So you can have different choices. If you select one checked, it will remain checked when the form displays on the website as a default. And the site visitor would have to uncheck it to remove that selection. We can add additional items here, additional checks. options, you know, and you can delete options. And we don't need to make it required. I'll just leave it like that. The one that I personally like to do, you can add a validation, what they call a CAPTCHA field at the bottom of your form where someone has to enter in all the kind of weird characters. I think that's sometimes awkward. So what I like to do is something a little more simple that is almost as effective, I'd say. I add a checkbox field. Yeah, as soon as that displays, we can edit it. I'm going to hover over that. And we're going to say, I'm just going to call it I'm human. Okay. And something like that. I hate spam, something like that. And just leave those other ones. You don't need any other ones, just leave them removed. And you have to make this field required and don't select it. So once we save this form, when someone were to browse your site, and before they can submit it to you, they have to select this. And what we're going to do, the way we're going to control that is we're going to put an advanced field. Let me go up here. Actually, let's save this. Let's update the form. So let's update it. And what we want to do in this case is make the submit button not show up until the last field down there, I'm human, is checked. So what we have to do is go to form settings. Some of this is new. They've updated this recently, so I just want to make sure I'm in the right place here. So here we go, button conditional logic. So in this location, kind of midway down the screen, again, you can edit the title of your form, the description. Decide whether your labels are aligned top or bottom above the input fields. You can have an image for the submit button, but it's more common just put, you know, leave the text as submit. But here's the place where we're going to put the control factor that creates the condition where someone has to select that checkbox. You select enable conditional logic, and this is actually for the submit button itself. You can say show this form button when I'm human is selected as I hate spam. If they don't select that, the submit button will be invisible until they select that. So that's pretty good. I think we've got everything. These other things are kind of more advanced. You probably don't need them. So I would just update the form and then we can preview it. So let's just preview the form here. So here we go. Notice the submit button is not there. Now as you fill in, you know, we should make your name and email required fields as well in the real world here. But this is not real, so let's just move on. We're going to hit I hate spam, and the submit button shows up automatically. So the site visitor will fill out all the information. When they get to the bottom, they click that and hit I hate spam. Another thing you can do, let's close that. What I like to do with that, go back to the form editor. Go back to the bottom. We're going to edit that. You can actually put in the description an instruction. I'll say this checkbox must be selected for the submit button to show, something like that. And you can, if you wanted to, you could put in some HTML, like, you know, add a class, some paragraph text. You don't have to do this part. And you can save it like that. It makes it just a little bit nicer. Update the form. So that's pretty much the form fields. You can look at these other advanced fields. Just some of them you may not use. Alright, so let's go to, you know what, it doesn't like, I realize this is a new, it didn't say that, and the reason being I put in quotes. That's kind of a bug, or I believe it's a bug. So I'm going to say you must check this box before submitting, something like that. I used a class name with a double quote like that in red. I'm going to make that red. I have a class called red, which will make that type red. But you can only use single quotes. I'm going to save that to my clipboard just in case. You can only use single quotes in the description field. I just found that out recently, so it should save this time. If you want to do any more elaborate HTML, you could use the HTML block. Another field you might use, maybe a drop-down selection. Under the advanced fields, you could put a website URL. It's kind of like a text box, but it's expecting a website URL, and it will make it formatted correctly. You can put in address fields. You can select international or not. These other ones are more if you're going to be doing more complicated things with your form, which we're not going to be doing, like creating blog posts from the form itself on your from your public website. We're not going to be doing that, so let's ignore that. Let's go to what is important. The excuse me, the confirmation section is where the option here to select what is shown when someone submits your form. So we can have just a little, the default is just a little verbiage comes up that says thanks for contacting us, etc. You can redirect to a page that has a whole lot more instructions when someone submits a web form, or redirect to another URL. So it's pretty robust. So I just leave the default for now. Notifications, another important area. This is where you would set up the email addresses for notification to both the administrative person of the website and for the end user notification. So let's just check right here. Let's just check the admin notification. So right here we have an automatically generated field called admin that's being sent to the admin, so we don't have to populate that. That's going to come right from your WordPress settings. And you can put in a few things here if you want. I like to grab the maybe the URL and stick it in here. Yeah, WordPress, new submission from, my website URL, and I'll put it in there often and just update that. Let's go look at existing forms real quick. We're going to just look at those, and then while I'm doing that, I'm going to open another page called test, and we're going to insert that form. Let's go back to another form, just an example. Let's look at the settings on this one. So let's look at notifications. So you can edit, duplicate forms, things like that. So, okay, there's the notifications. We can add a new notification. And this would be like if you want to create a custom message, you can create a custom reply to the website submitter with your subject, thanks for visiting our website, etc., etc. Put some information in the body here. The send to email is generally, you're going to have to go through a little bit here to find the fields that are available. That's it right there. So from the this is actually the website submitter's email. So by dropping this form, this little list down, you can grab fields and stick them in these fields here. So we have a lot of things you can do. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but I think you get the idea. But let's insert into a test page right here our web form. So you can just come up to the Add Form button that's available from Gravity Forms. Select the form that we just created. My new form. Display the form title or not, the form description or not. Ajax is just maybe some fancy stuff that happens while it's being submitted. Just hit insert that. It's going to put a short code into your web page, and then just update it. I guess we'll update it. And then we can view that form online. What I prefer to do most of the time, rather than creating new forms, is I'll actually go to the form list and I'll duplicate an existing form and then just tweak it from there. I think it's a lot faster. So let's click View Page. There's going to be a bunch of gobbledygook on this page because it's kind of my test page. And while that's loading, I'm going to come over here and just show you. So you can just hover over a form and you can duplicate a form. So if you have a form that already has name, phone number, email address, website, all the standard stuff, comments, you can just duplicate that and then do some editing from there. And just make sure you insert, change the name and then insert it. So there's the form right there. Insert it into our web page. Not very styled at this moment, but that's what it would look like. So you can select all these options. Please call me. I hate spam, and there's the submit button. Of course, it won't submit until the required fields are entered. Alrighty, that's it. Thank you very much. Catch you next time.